You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer from the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, man, frustrating. The Giants strand 9 runners in this one, including the game-tying run at third base in the 9th inning as they fall 2-1 to the Tampa Bay Rays. Agonizing, frustrating, disheartening, concerning. All of these words come to mind, but the dominant feeling is that sinking feeling that this just might be another long season of Giants baseball torture. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. If you're listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, thanks for getting the show there. However you're tuning in, we appreciate you checking the show out, and make sure to follow the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment matter more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150. Win or lose, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated. This is a very tough L. I see you there, Beto, in the comments. It's a tough L, man. This sucks. This sucks. This Giants team is not hitting. They're trying to manufacture runs, and they are not able to even get timely base hits. They're not able to get sack flies in key moments. I mean, you got the game-tying run on third base, the winning run at the plate in the 9th inning, in less than 2 outs, and you can't scratch that run across. That is bad. That is bad. There's been so many games this year where the Giants have struggled with runners in scoring position, but this one might take the cake. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. 0 for, like, that's terrible, man. 1 run. Keaton Winn does a nice job. The Rays get 1 base runner after the 3rd inning, and they hold on to a 2-run lead. This feels so much like the Giants teams of old that just could not score runs. Man, this is frustrating. This team is supposed to be different. This offense is supposed to be better. Where is Jorge Soler? What is Matt Chapman doing? Why can't this team hit, man? This is frustrating. I know a lot of the sabermetric stats favor guys like Chapman, say that they're, gonna pull out of a slump, things like that, the exit velo is good and all those things, and I get it, but this is just so frustrating. After a loss like this is gutting. You were hoping that after a night like they had against Washington to close out the homestand, that maybe that offensive momentum would carry into, maybe you could ride that wave a little bit longer down to Florida and tack some runs on a Rays pitching staff that has not been that great. They've been walking a lot of guys, especially the bullpen, and that's really concerning for me when the Giants couldn't get to anybody in this Rays pen. They held them down. The Rays also had a couple of errors in this one. Giants couldn't capitalize. Giants had a couple of errors too. Frustrating, man. Frustrating. This is disheartening. I'm trying not to overreact because it is early. I get it. You have to expect that these bats will wake up more. The Giants did do a lot of good things on the base paths today in this one. Continuation of what we saw last time out, scoring runs off of steals. The Giants tied it up in that 3rd inning on Jung Lee, basically just forcing his way over to third base. He stole second after a leadoff single. Catcher threw the ball into center field on the play, and Lee took 3rd with nobody out. Wade Jr. grounds into 2nd with the infield in. Couldn't score on that one. But then a pass ball on a cutter that got away from the catcher was catchable. It was a little high, but got all the way to the backstop. Lee scored on that one too. So the Giants, 1 run in this one comes from the Rays kind of kicking it around a little bit and Jung Lee's speed. And that's great. That's wonderful when your offense can manufacture runs and score in these different ways. But you need extra base hits, man. You need to hit some balls out of the yard. The Giants are struggling so hard with finding anybody who has some pop in the bat right now. It's been a drought. I want to hear some bye-bye babies, man. We haven't had a home run in so long for this Giants team, and this is just debilitating, man. Another power outage offensively is not what you want to see, especially when you ended the homestand the way you did. Yes, you lose that series to the Nationals, but it's not. You feel like they ended it on a high note. They were trending upwards, if you will. Their offense looked better than it had in recent games. That was the best they looked on the entire homestand. And then tonight they just come out here and lay this freaking egg, man. It is so frustrating. So frustrating. I mean, Soler did pick up a hit and 2 walks. It was an okay day for him, but you look at guys like Conforto, 0 with 2 strikeouts. Chapman, 0 with 3 strikeouts. It's frustrating, man. This is getting old. It's getting really, really, really old. And 6 hits on the day for the Giants. Again, the 1 run in the 3rd inning, and that's it. Keaton Winn pitched pretty well in this one. It was kind of the same story that we've seen from him in his other outings this season. He's pitching well enough to keep the Giants in the game. The Giants aren't giving him any run support. He lasted 6 innings in this one, and he was up and down. He had moments where he was kind of wild and walking guys, and then he'd have innings where he just threw nothing but strikes. 5 innings, for Keaton Winn, 5 hits, 2 runs, and 3 walks to go with the 6 strikeouts. It was an okay performance. I mean, I feel like anytime you hold your opponent to 2 runs or fewer, like, you got to give the starting pitcher some props. And this is, your 5th starter. If this is the production you're getting from your number 5 guy in your starting pitching staff, that's pretty good. But it doesn't really mean a whole lot if you can't score runs. You need to be able to score. That's the name of the game, is score more runs than your opponent. And right now the Giants can't score any freaking runs, man. This is so frustrating. I'm frustrated. I don't know another word to say. I'm debilitated. This is gutting. This is gutting. This is a team that is supposed to be turning things around offensively. And every time that they do something in this early season that makes you want to have faith and want to believe that this team is going to turn it around and these bats are going to wake up and these big free agent signings are going to come around, it just doesn't. It falls flat the next time out. They can't seem to string anything together. That was the positive sign from their last game against the Nationals for me, was that their offense seemed to be contagious, hitting, driving in runs and continuing the innings, especially with 2 outs, tons of 2-strike hitting. Yes, it was a little bit of fool's gold because 6 of those hits, your bottom 2 guys come from the bottom 2 guys in your lineup. Those 2 guys go 3 or 6 for 6 combined. That's not going to happen every night. You need the top of this order to start producing. Plain and simple. You need them to start producing. Between your top 3 guys in the order tonight, you had 2 hits. That's not going to get it done. It's just not going to get it done. We can go even further. Between the top 3, 4, 5 guys, you had 2 hits between the top 5 guys in the order tonight. That's not going to win you some games. The top of this order, we got to give them some time still. Yes. I'm trying to hold back the anger sharks that are swimming inside right now that just make me want to yell and scream about this team and how much we're just going to be right back to being a 500 squad. But I still have a sliver of hope. I really do. Maybe it's just the optimist in me, but I really have a sliver of hope that this team is going to turn it around. I think, it is still April 12th. We keep saying it's early. Yes, it is early, but you got to start seeing some signs of production from these guys. And you need to see something. You need to have something that you can build on. And right now there's not a whole lot there. Jung-Hoo Lee, bright spot, because even in a rough night for him, 1 for 5, he still manages to manufacture a run with his wheels, getting on base, good base running, heads up base running, taking extra bases on airs. That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. That's one thing that you can build on, but this has been pretty much the one constant here. We know that Jung-Hoo Lee is going to be a great leadoff batter for the Giants for years to come. That's awesome. I'm very happy about that. He plays a great center field. But I want to see some power, man. I need to see some balls leave the yard. I need to hear a bye-bye, baby. I need to hear an adios pelota. I need to hear all of it. And we're not getting any of this right now. And it's the reason the Giants are losing. The pitching has not been the problem. The pitching's been great. Another dominant performance by this bullpen who early in the season looked a little shaky, and they look rock solid now. Rock solid. But this offense, man, it's the age old adage, Giants baseball, torture. And that's exactly what we got tonight. More torture in Tampa Bay. You got 2 more games against the Rays. I want a series win, man, so bad. The Rays are a pretty good team, but their bullpen, if you can get into it, does walk a lot of guys. So maybe the Giants need to work those counts a little bit more or something. I mean, I feel like I saw a lot of really hittable first pitches tonight. The guys like Jorge Soler had 2 really great pitches. There was one, it was a hanging slider that was piped right down the middle to him late in this one, and he just watched it go by. And that's not great, man. Like, I know it's early in the count, but I want a hanging 86-mile-an-hour slider in the middle of the zone to Jorge Soler should leave the yard. And that's what I want to see. We've seen very, very, very few good swings. I mean, there weren't very many, balls tonight that were driven by the Giants. There wasn't a whole lot of loud contact. There was some of that in the beginning of the season, and I figured that they would turn it around. I mean, the Giants as a team, if you I know Ben Caspick gets into all the sabermetrics and stuff, and the Giants do have a pretty high exit velocity as a team. Their expected batting average on those balls is higher. So you assume that they are going to get a little bit better. They're going to return to the mean a little bit, but it's so frustrating that this is happening again after all these free agent signings. I'm not going to sit here and pile on Farhan. I think that it's really honestly dumb to do that at this point. We are we just finished game 14 of 162. I don't think we're going to sit here and make judgment calls about free agent signings yet. So if you're one of those people screaming about how Farhan still sucks and all this stuff, I think you need to reevaluate a little bit on that one, because this Giants team does look a lot different. You do have to wait before you can kind of grade out these guys and how their signings were and how this all played out. You need to give them more time. It is frustrating, though. I am on board with the frustration. It is rough. This is rough. This is a rough 2-1 loss in Tampa Bay. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. I hate this. We will roll on, though. We will trudge on the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and we will be right back. This spring, flowers won't be the only thing you're growing. When you use Ibotta, you can watch your cash back grow with every purchase you make. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 a year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip that you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner that you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, just add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account right away, PayPal or gift cards as well. Join the over 50 million users and earn cash back every time you shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, and Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash and cash back. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. A very, very frustrating 2-1 loss for the Giants out there in Tampa Bay. Giants can't hit right now. Can't hit. Couldn't fall out of a boat and hit water right now, it seems like, on offense. They are just terrible at the dish. Early on in this season, there's no two ways about it. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. Every time they do something that makes you excited, they do something that makes you just shake your head and walk back into that pit of sorrow that is Giants baseball being torture. And is this going to be another playoff-less year? I think it's a little too early to tell, but I am concerned about this offense. It's starting to get to the point where you wonder where this is going to come from. You have to have somebody step up. You have to also expect that you won't have all of these guys slumping for the rest of the season. Somebody has to run into one eventually and get an extra base hit, get a home run, a big hit in a time when you need it with multiple guys on base. Like, when's the last time the Giants had a hit that scored multiple runners? It's frustrating right now, man. It is slim pickings on offense for the Giants, but we got to find some bright spots. There are some bright spots in today's game. I thought that this was the first time we saw Bob Melvin get ejected after arguing a called third strike to Soler that looked low. I like that Bob Melvin stood up for his guys. He tried to fire them up in a game that seemed to lack energy. This one just seemed lackluster, and maybe it was that baby crowd out there in Tampa. They struggled to fill up that yard. I remember one year they were in the playoffs, and they made admittance to one of those playoff games free admittance, and they still couldn't fill it up. That was insane. I don't know how that happens in a major league ballpark, but especially to a team that's good. The Rays are good. They have been good for a few years now, for a while now. Multiple trips, deep in the playoffs. A lot of fun players to watch. I like Randy Arozarena a lot. He's really fun. But I don't know. Maybe it was that baby crowd. Maybe it was the lack of run production by the Giants. Maybe it was the over 10 with runners in scoring position. I don't know. The constant letdowns. It just seemed lackluster today. And I like the fact that Melvin went out there to try and get something going. He obviously knows you can't argue balls and strikes. And if you do that, you're going to get tossed quicker than doing anything else in Major League Baseball as a manager. And Bob Melvin knows that, obviously, but he wants to get the guys going. And something like this could do that. Something needs to happen. Then they need a spark, man. Maybe that's youth. We've talked about it on the podcast before. Maybe that's bringing up some of the younger guys, Luis Matos. I think it's too early to get Luciano, but you need production. You need hits. You need to score some runs. And those two guys have better bats than the guys that they would be replacing in the bigs right now. So you wonder if it's time for maybe the Giants to make a move. I think Matos comes up well before Luciano does. I don't know if we're going to see Luciano, before the end of May. I would be shocked, honestly, if he came up before then. I think he needs to get rolling a little bit more up in Sacramento before he comes up to the big league club. But the Giants need a spark. It's got to come from somewhere. The pitching has been great. It really has. The bullpen has been awesome. Ryan Walker, again, tonight pitched really well. Landon Roop, again, pitched 2 innings in this one. Really, really, really dominant stuff from him on the mound again. In the Giants, still doesn't matter. Keaton Wynn, great start, wasted. Excellent bullpen outing, wasted. Again, this is just getting frustrating at this point. Kind of pumping the brakes again on totally losing my lid on this team. But it's got to start turning around from somewhere. And there's just been so many weird things that have happened. Like the Giants just letting guys run all over them. It seems like, I know the shorter bases not the shorter bases, but the bigger bases have created a shorter distance from first to second to third, etc. But it's really weird to see Pat Bailey regress as much as he has. He did throw a runner out tonight. But if you remember, that runner was only on because of a Pat Bailey catcher's interference. Who is this back there? Joey Bart? What is happening, man? I thought Joey Bart was in Pittsburgh now. It's so weird that the Giants have had this start. You thought that they were going to turn it around. You thought that this offense would be better. You thought that maybe the pitching would be up and down in the beginning. And it's been completely the opposite. The first couple postcasts we did after Giants season started, we said, typically the bats are the first things to come around, and the pitching catches up a little bit later. Talked about Tim Lincecum, how he always took a while to find his footing out on the hill. And it's the opposite for the Giants. Their pitching looks fine. Their pitching looks mid-season form right now, especially the bullpen. It looks so sharp. But their offense can't score more than 1 or 2 runs a game. You had that nice outing against Washington, but other than that one game, your entire homestand, you failed to score more than 3 runs. And we're right back to that same type of production from the offense. Only 1 run from the Giants. When you have over 10 with runners in scoring positions, it's really not going to cut it, man. It's just, I know I keep saying that 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, but I just can't. I just can't believe that this is happening again. Like I maybe I'm stupid for believing that this offense was actually going to turn it around and become lively this season after leaving a lot to be desired the last few years. And maybe I was just enamored with the free agents. I think that these guys will still turn around, but man, I'm frustrated. I'm sure you guys are frustrated too. This has been not the start I think that we expected to this Giants season. And they're just going to have to trudge through this. They're going to need to find someone who can do something productive at the plate. It's as simple as that. You just need a damn hit. Got to figure out how to square up that ball. There was some good signs from Tyro tonight. He did have a double, 2 hits in this one for Tyro. And in him getting going would be nice, but I also need Matt Chapman, Jorge Soler, all these other big free agent signings to get going as well at the dish. This Giants offense really is going to struggle without those 2 guys specifically running into a few, getting some extra base hits, driving runners in. If those 2 guys in the middle of the order continue to slump this way, it's going to be rough for the Giants all season long. We got to talk about the pitching on the other side. I keep saying that we got to talk about something positive, and I keep getting distracted by how frustrated I am. And we gotta talk about something positive on the other side. Keaton Winn had a nice night. The bullpen has been pitching well. We'll break all that down. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. Maybe not Giants home runs the way they've been batting. But what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn's Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platforms, LinkedIn Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a free 60-day trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. A frustrating 2-1 loss for the Giants in this one in Tampa Bay. No offensive production at all, but there was some bright spots on the hill. Keaton Winn has been pretty good this year. In his 3 outings, he's lasted at least 5 innings in each of those outings. He did give up 4 runs to the Padres in his last outing, but if you remember, he pitched around a lot of damage. And he did pitch around some damage April 1st against the Dodgers as well. Gave up 3 runs in that. In total, Keaton's given up 9 runs this year so far in 12 innings of work. So ERA could be better. And again, this is your number 5 starter. He's played pretty well. He's had 13 strikeouts. But the one thing that does kind of concern me about Keaton is that he's had 7 walks in these 3 starts. That's a little high. He doesn't give up a whole lot of home runs though. So these extra base runners, he's a big ground ball guy. So he's going to get a lot of double plays, a lot of ground outs. He's been able to pitch around damage, and he did that again in this one. Lots of runners on base early, and he pitched around it pretty effectively. I believe it was the 2nd inning early in this one. Bottom of the 2nd, bases loaded, nobody out, and Siri was up. He had back-to-back strikeouts. He did end up, unfortunately, he got Diaz to a full count in his next at-bat and almost got him, but two pitches with two strikes, two pitches that weren't really close. You want those a little bit closer to the zone to try and get someone to chase, but he ended up walking in a run. That's why those walks concern, that free 90 ended up being kind of the difference in this one. I mean, all it took was one. The Giants could have gone 1 for 10 and batted 100 with runners in scoring position and could have changed the whole outcome of this game. But they don't, then they go 0 for instead. And they make Keaton win and leave him hung out to dry, man. To pick up a loss when you only give up 2 runs, that's tough. And I mean, but the way he pitched around this early trouble, we've seen this from Keaton Wynn so far this season, and he settled down immediately after that. Third inning, he gave up another run, but he continued to settle in after that. The third inning run that he gave up also was very weird. That triple to right center that wasn't really a triple. They called an error on Matt Chapman for obstructing third base and called the runner safe at third. Very weird time. I get that they're trying to implement this rule of like position players not blocking bases as much, but Chapman, I don't know how he gets out of the way of that ball and still catches it at the same, like he's got to make a play on the ball. He's trying to make a play on the ball and it leads him into the base path. And it's not like he's got his foot directly in front of the base or he's dropping a leg in front of it to prevent the runner from sliding in. Like he puts his glove in between the guy's foot and the bag. I think that's pretty clearly an out, but I don't know. The run still would have scored. I digress. Either way, it would have been a 2-1 Rays lead either way. But that these 2 runs, that was it. Like that was it. All it took was those 2 things to happen, and the Giants lose because they can't score a damn run at the plate. Keaton Wynn does everything he can do on the hill. The Rays could have scored so many more runs. I mean, bases loaded, nobody out, and you limit them to 1 run. That is excellent work on the mound, pitching around a tough situation and reaching back and getting some strikeout stuff. Like Keaton Wynn isn't going to be a big strikeout pitcher, but he can get it when he needs it, and he showed that today. The bullpen comes in and does a great job. They gave up 1 base runner after the 3rd inning, and that was on a infield single by Harold Ramirez. And by the way, that dude moves so good for a big guy. Like as a guy who packs on a couple extra pounds himself, that made me happy, man. I know infield single, we're not supposed to be cheering an infield single, but especially for the Rays. But it was kind of funny to watch a guy that big move that quick up and down the line. He even stole a base in this one. It was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. That, by the way, Ramirez that picked up a 2-out infield single in the bottom of the 3rd inning before that triple. That was the run that scored. So Keaton Wynn essentially gives up an infield hit. You get a triple that I guess it was a double and an error officially ruled in the scorebook with the Chapman obstruction, but you give up basically 1 hit. I mean, that Ramirez grounder could have been an out either way. If Ahmed gets there a little bit quicker, I'm not going to blame Ahmed. He's a Gold Glove shortstop, but he was moving down the line, and to their credit, that bought the Rays an extra run because next guy up put 1 in the gap. So all it took was 1 swing of the bat, and the Rays ended up winning this game because walks and infield singles. That's a rough way to lose a game, man. When you can't even out small ball the Rays, you can't out long ball anybody, you can't out small ball anybody. How are you going to win a game if you can't score more than 1 run? You can't pitch a shutout every single night. Keaton Wynn gives up 2 runs and the bullpen holds it down, and you still can't lift it up. I mean, if you're watching on the stream, you see my guy Matt Cain over my shoulder. Very Matt Cain-like today. Not great. Not great. Giants baseball seems like it's back to being torture, at least for now, guys. I mean, lack of run production, great pitching, Giants still lose. I mean, how many times have we heard this story through the years? It makes me want to put my head through this damn keyboard in front of me, man. I'll tell you what, this is so frustrating. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Strand 9 runners on base. Giants baseball, torture. That's about all the time I got for you guys today. we'll be coming to you live later in this Rays series. Giants take on the Rays again tomorrow, and then on Sunday, tomorrow's start is a 1:10 versus Rays. And quick reminder, that Sunday game is a 10:40 a.m. start. Interesting time start, of course. Out there on the East Coast makes things a little earlier for us on the West Coast, but you gotta love some morning baseball. It's not bad. It's not a bad way to start your day, especially a Sunday. That's nice, man. It's good vibes to start a Sunday. It'll be even better vibes if the Giants can score some runs and win a freaking game, man. All right. Until next time, I'm Eric Triple E Engel. This is the Locked On Giants postcast, and we will see you next time. Peace.